Welcome to the South Ops Fire Weather Webcast for Thursday, July 2nd. I'm your host, Kristen Stewart. It is another morning of no sky July across coastal California as the persistent, unseasonably deep trough that we have been dealing with lately remains in place over the western U.S. The cloud pattern this morning looks very similar as it did yesterday, with low clouds blanketing the coastal plains and all the way up to most of the coastal slopes. The clouds are so far through the nooks and crannies that they are even on the doorstep of the deserts. With the trough still overhead, clearing will once again be sluggish and patchy as we get later into the morning and closer to the afternoon. We will stay in a very mundane weather pattern as we go through this first week of July with no sign of any significant fire weather-related issues. The persistent unseasonably deep trough over the western U.S. that has been keeping us cool and gloomy for many days now will finally weaken over the next couple days. High pressure will then become reestablished over the western U.S. this weekend and into at least mid-next week, but it will remain on the weaker side. Temperatures will warm back up and the marine layer will shrink, but it will not lead to any significant impacts, which is great news for the holiday this weekend. Temperatures across the region will remain below seasonal averages the next couple days, with 80s common across the valleys, except around 90 for the San Joaquin Valley, 70s closer to the coast, and 100 to 105 for the low desert. Alongside these cooler temperatures will be the continuation of breezy westerly winds across the interior, particularly for the deserts and adjacent slopes. Temperatures will gradually warm back up this weekend into mid-next week as weak high pressure returns, though highs will only rise back up to around or just above seasonal averages region-wide, with more widespread 90s in the valleys and around 110 for the low desert. This pattern will give way to a comfortable 4th of July holiday with no extreme heat expected. Even beyond the 7-day forecast period, there are no signs of any extreme heat developing, which is great news for keeping our fire potential more muted as we move later into the summer. A deep marine layer will remain prevalent for the next few days, with night through morning low clouds expanding into many of the lower coastal slopes with slow, patchy clearing. The marine layer will become shallower with better clearing as we move into the weekend and next week, though it will still remain prevalent across the coastal plains. Humidity will remain low, away from the marine influence, with minimums commonly in the teens to mid-20s across the interior each day, except single digits and teens for the deserts. This extended period of cool weather and a deep marine layer has kept our dead fuel moistures running above average and ERCs below average. These unseasonable conditions have allowed our area-wide large fire probability to be much lower than where we should be at this time of year. Of course, there remains some conditional fire spread potential across the interior due to the breezy and drier conditions there, though concerns should largely be confined to light fuels and single burn periods on well-aligned starts. Fire potential will slowly trend upward this weekend into next week as we warm up, with an increase in initial attack likely due to the holiday. Though with the lack of any extreme heat or dryness, and with our fire danger indices being reduced, we are not expecting any major fire-related issues. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Our next webcast will be on Friday, July 3rd. Have a fantastic day.